Hello guys, welcome to the Coinbase live stream. They have uploaded their Q3 2022 earnings last night, and I'm just going to go through the major highlights and then go through their shareholder letter and all the information they uploaded. So overall, it looks like a positive outcome for Coinbase this quarter. They seem to be having a positive EBITDA sooner than they expected, and they are continuing to push for legislation and push for cheaper, more economic ways of doing internet transactions, and really building probably, I think, what will be the kind of Microsoft of internet financial transactions. So obviously this won't be the only place that people do transactions in the future, but it will become the place that sort of is the best for institutions and people that just want a bit of trust, want a brand they recognize, don't necessarily want to be doing the transactions themselves. And so, you know, there's this not my keys, not my wallet sort of thing or whatever movement, but I personally don't care to have my own, I don't care about that necessarily at the minute until Coinbase starts shutting down accounts, which I have seen a little bit of. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's go into the earnings presentation for Coinbase. So let me just pull that up. There's the shareholder letter. I will also be uploading the entire conference call to YouTube for your viewing pleasure so that you don't have to set up an account like I did just to... I already have a Coinbase account, but you've got to set up another account just to watch their earnings presentation, which is dumb. Anyway, so the existing financial system built over a century ago is outdated and ill-equipped for today's digital economy. I agree. Leading to global inefficiencies and limitations, at Coinbase, we aim to bridge the gap between aging system and the going cryptocurrency in order to bring over 1 billion people into crypto. Although the journey may entail volatility, given the industry's nascent stage, yet enormous potential, we perceive challenges and opportunities, remaining steadfast in our mission to increase global economic freedom. Let me just share my screen. So there it is. Oh, that's annoying. There we go. So, now let me go back to the call. Okay, so I'm not going to read all of that, but jump straight to the earnings. We are building a sustainable business to drive long-term growth in Q3. Net loss was 2 million, and we generated positive adjusted EBITDA for the third consecutive quarter. So this is where they are ahead of their expectations, but they are making a loss, but the loss was $2 million. Really not that big of a deal, and when volatility goes up and there's more transactions, that will absolutely boom. Their earnings absolutely boom when there's high volatility. I also believe that Coinbase absolutely, if they absolutely wanted to, could become profitable today. However, they do have $5 billion in accessible cash on the balance sheet. So they are in no rush. They can to become profitable, but they could do so very quickly, I believe. And also there are just many, many more opportunities for them to reduce cash in the way that they use cryptocurrencies. And another thing that was really particularly interesting from this quarter was the amount of institutional investors that were using the Coinbase business. So this is one of the reasons that I see them as a bit of a Microsoft. Microsoft were very good at appealing to consumers and also appealing to big corporate customers. And to be a really big business, you have to appeal to both. Okay, so yeah, we can see revenues going up. Q3 2022, it was 346 million. Oh, that's consumer net. Have I got that right? Oh, no, revenue's down this quarter from last year. But where did I read that it was up? Net revenue. See, so net revenue Q3 2022 was 576. The net loss was 545. Adjusted EBITDA 111. Remember also, a lot of that loss can be changing working capital. So it's a loss purely on paper. It's not actual tangible loss. So for Coinbase, in order to work out how profitable they actually are, you have to take change in working capital out of the equation, because Coinbase are really making money from the transactions. The cost of the value of their assets, say Bitcoin sitting in the vaults, doesn't really matter, because a lot of the assets are not actually theirs. They're not something that they can spend unless you're Sam Bankman-Fried. So yeah, their revenues went up from Q3 2022 to 623 million. And now their losses have shrunk significantly to just 2 million. That's probably the change in working capital on Bitcoin. So not like real earnings again. So transaction revenue, that's the main thing, and that is down. So they've lost a bit of transaction revenue. So we should be a little bit upset about that, but what can we do? Like, we know that when times are like this, that we're not going to get as much transaction revenue. We're not going to get this perfect steady climb. It's one of the reasons I purchased Coinbase at this point, was precisely because I believe the volatility was suppressing the price. So yeah, their transaction revenue is a bit down, and that is the most important revenue. So stablecoin revenue, blockchain rewards, interest income, custodial fee revenue, total subscription and services revenue is up 100 million. That's really cool to see. So that is very reliable income. Now, compared to the transaction revenue, net revenue 600, and that's the net revenue, total revenue, and that's how the total revenues come up, because they've gained 100 million in transaction. So subscriptions is not the massive part of that. What's the main bit that's increased? Stablecoin revenue. Stablecoin revenue is derived from our arrangement with issuer of USDC. Prior to Q3, stablecoin revenue was included within interest income. Right. Consumer and institutional. So that's the cool thing to see, is institutional, though that's down a little bit, trading volume. Bitcoin still the biggest, Ethereum still second, USDT is now introduced, and other crypto assets are 28%. Transaction revenue, percentage of total, yeah, not all that interested in that. Subscription and services revenue, let's just read the beginning of this. Q3 subscription and services revenue was 334 million, largely flat quarter on quarter. We saw increases of native units in custody and increase in staked balances and growth in USDC on our platform. Stablecoin revenues were 172 million, up 14% quarter on quarter. Prior to Q3, stablecoin revenue was included in interest income. Stablecoin revenue is income earned on USDC reserves under our updated arrangement with Circle. Primarily, the primary driver of Q-on-Q increase was higher interest rates. We ended Q3 with approximately 2.5 billion in our platform USDC balances, up from 1.8 billion at the end of Q2. Right. Transaction expenses, sales and marketing. And so these are the operating expenses. So they have an operating expense, full-time employees, and total operating expense is 745 million. And once you add in full-time employees, end of quarter, that's how many employees they have. So just ignore that. They've gotten rid of a whole load of employees. Woohoo! 1 billion. That's got to be in thousands, right? Yes, that's in thousands. They did not have a billion employees. Full-time operating expenses in millions, except full-time employees. And total US dollar resources, money market funds. Interesting. So here's interesting. Cash and equivalents excluding restricted cash. So this is the cash that they can use for their business. Half their revenue is just a big fat pile of cash. That is what I like. So they're like, oh, actually no, might be one quarter. Might be one quarter. Let me just check. Are they 20 billion right now or 10 billion market cap? Yeah, they've got 20 billion market cap. So sorry, they are 25% cash. Adjusted operating cash flow. Look at that. Look how small that operating cash flow is relative to that pile of cash. So that is, they could go for a very long time without earning money. CapEx, internally developed software, ventures, financing. That's all their costs. And then so this September, they had 50 million less cash at the end of the quarter. So yeah, this is one of those ones where I'm like, this I feel is a cool way to be in crypto, but also have one foot in the old world, because it's a stock, it's a bank, it's a transaction company, it's kind of a basic thing. I think it's the new PayPal in a way, in a manner of speaking. And so imagine if you want to do crypto transactions, but you want some form of institution to guarantee the transaction's reliability. Coinbase could be your PayPal and insure you. And that is really important, I think, in this day and age. And they are definitely the biggest one working with regulators. We generated approximately 105 million in transaction revenue in the quarter, though we urge caution with extrapolating these results. Coinbase Q4 2023 outlook. Looking ahead, crypto remains volatile as evidenced on ongoing uncertainty in the regulatory environment. While we can't predict what will happen next for 2023, we anticipate meaningful positive adjusted EBITDA. By the way, on the earnings call, they were really interesting. They were talking about how little faith Americans have in the institutional financial system. And a lot of American voters, a lot of them now want crypto to become a regulated part of the economy. And so it's becoming this sort of political thing to be shown that you do care about crypto. Every single politician needs to prove that they care about crypto. And one of the risks for America is, if you look at this chart, you know, the amount of companies that are ahead of America in regulating crypto are numerous. And so America is definitely falling behind here. 83% of the G20 and major financial hubs have either passed national crypto legislation or have crypto regulations in place. So this chart is showing how much the United States need to speed up now. This is why people have no faith in the United States financial system, because they are so slow to act. Right, UK, massive, one of the oldest governments on the planet, and they have managed to institute crypto. And I do not like our government, but at the same time, they are faster to act than the United States. Cash and cash equivalents. Yeah, so look at that. That's the little dip in cash and cash equivalents there. Restricted cash and customer custodial funds, USDC, which is basically a kind of form of US dollar, which is up a lot. And total current assets, goodwill. Cool. Revenue, there you go. 2023 net revenue. 3 months ending, so there's 2022, there's 2023, there's 2022, there's 2023, that's 9 months. And so from the beginning of the year, we are down a little bit in revenue, and from in the last 3 months, we are up a bit in revenue. And all, I don't care really about it, so long as like the company can't go bankrupt, can't go bust, so long as they can weather the storm until the next economic cycle, when interest rates start to come down. I don't know when that is, but I've been investing long enough to know that it happens eventually. Governments are desperate to lower interest rates all the time. So yeah, pretty happy with how everything's going. Definitely going to keep this stock in my portfolio for the long run. and see what happens with crypto in the future. And it's just a good way. I think Coinbase is a good way of getting a broad spectrum of cryptocurrencies, and not necessarily having to know which one will be the future and not having to keep on top of them. You own a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum through holding Coinbase, and you can actually value the earnings. You can see the value of the business. So that I all like. And so that is why it is a significant part of my portfolio. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I will answer every single one of them, and I'll also be uploading the earnings call for Coinbase. So that is all from me. Goodbye.